well, they are rolling over, and they're getting rolled by President Obama. Here is Senator Bob Corker. This guy's a Republican, so he's supposed to be a conservative. And this is the first of two sound bites I'll play from pretty highly respected Republicans who have completely sipped the Kool-Aid when it comes to tax hikes on job creators. Remember, that's what's going on here. When we talk about raising the tax on the upper 2% of wage earners, we're talking about a tax on job creators, taking more money away from them, the money that they otherwise would use to create jobs, expand business, pay higher wages. So it's just absurd. Economically, it's moronic. It's stupid. It's economically stupid to think that this is a good idea, to take more money away from the very people you are counting on to create jobs in a faltering economy. It's just economically stupid. There's no other way to put it. And yet one Republican after another seems to have stuck his snout into this trough and imbibed the Kool-Aid. Here's Senator Bob Corker talking to Chris Wallace on Fox News yesterday.
Well, Chris, there is a growing group of folks that are looking at this and realizing that we don't have a lot of cards as it relates to the tax issue before year end. I mean, we have one House, that's it. The presidency and the Senate's in the Democrats' hands. So a lot of people are putting forth a theory, and I actually think it has merit, where you go ahead and give the president the 2% increase that he's talking about, the rate increase on the top 2%. And all of a sudden, the shift goes back to entitlements. And all of a sudden, once you give him the rate on the top 2%, it's actually much lesser tax increase than what he's been talking about. The focus then shifts to entitlements, and maybe that puts us in a place where we actually can do something that really saves this nation.
This is just bizarre to me. This is just absolutely, totally bizarre to me, because if you listen to what Bob Corker is saying, number one, he says we don't have a lot of cards as it relates to the tax issue. This is wrong. It's wrong. The Republicans control the House of Representatives. There cannot be any deal, no deal, none, zip nada, that doesn't involve the House signing on to it. It cannot happen without the collaboration of the House. So we've got the ace. We've got the whole card. We've got an ace up our sleeve. We've got a card that'll trump any card that they can play. The House of Representatives can stop anything that Barack Obama and the Democrats want to do. So these Republicans say we don't have a lot of cards. I have no idea what they are talking about. It's ludicrous to think that they don't have any leverage in this case. They control the House of Representatives. Every appropriations bill has to start in the House of Representatives. It doesn't start there. It can't go anywhere. You don't even have an appropriations bill. You don't even have a tax increase bill or a taxation bill that doesn't start in the House of Representatives. So that's what I don't understand. I mean, apparently these guys, the only thing that matters to them is having the Washington Post and the New York Times and CBS News say wonderful things about them and to them, how wonderful they are and how reasonable they are, not like those stubborn, obstinate Republicans. And here's the other thing. This is the most bizarre thing to me, is that Bob Corker actually thinks that by giving the president what he wants, it will weaken him. Did you catch that? I mean, this is just absurd. It's bizarre, this kind of reasoning, that if we give the president what he wants, it's going to weaken him and strengthen us. I mean, I don't even understand one bit of that thinking. What indication have we ever seen from this president that giving him what he wants improves our negotiating position? Has anybody seen anything remotely resembling that? So this Bob Corker, I mean, man, I am just not getting this. And this is supposedly a pretty smart guy. He even goes on to say, look, later in the soundbite, the top 1% in this country take in 17% of the income and pay 37% of the taxes. So he admits it's already unfair, that they're already paying way more than their fair share. But he says, we're going to go ahead and stick it to the man again, and we're going to be a part of this. I want to stick it to the man just like the Democrats do. How can we stick it to the man? Join Barack Obama and the Democrats in sticking it to the man, even though they're already paying 37% of the taxes that are paid. And by the way, California's tried this thing. California's in the middle of it right now. They just try to soak the rich strategy. They increase taxes on wealthy taxpayers. I mean, the biggest tax increase in their history. And you know what? Their tax revenues are already down. $1 billion in the first month. In November, they collected $1 billion less than they anticipated. So the wealthy are already taking their money and they're moving it out of state. Got a story today where Google has parked $10 billion in Bermuda, I think, or the Cayman Islands or one of those places, because the tax burden is lower. They've cut their tax burden in half by parking money in Bermuda. And it's perfectly legal. But here's the problem. That's money that cannot be invested in the American economy. It's gone. They bring it back. They got to pay taxes on it again. So it's never coming back. So our own tax policy, because our corporate tax rate is so high, we have the highest corporate tax rate in the world now. And what's it doing? It is driving money overseas. Now, Google's a big-time friend of Obama. They love President Obama. They supported him. They gave money to President Obama. But his tax rates are prompting them to take their money and move it offshore. And remember, Barack Obama said, look, this is unpatriotic. This is treasonous for people to do it. Well, Google's doing it right in front of Barack Obama and right under his nose. Now, here's Senator Tom Coburn. Here's another Republican senator that's gone off reservation on the tax increase business. Clip number 2. Let's listen.
Even if you do what he wants to do on tax rates, you only affect 7% of the deficit. What we have done is spend ourselves into a hole, and we're not going to raise taxes and borrow money and get out of it. And so will I accept a tax increase as a part of a deal to actually solve our problems? Yes, but the president's negotiating with the wrong people. He needs to be negotiating with our bondholders in China. Because if we don't put a credible plan on the discussion, ultimately we all lose.
Now, Tom Coburn's another guy. I've got great respect for Tom Coburn. He's one of the good guys. He produces the book on government waste every year. He tracks this stuff. He exposes it. He does great work. So I don't understand this. Well, I accept tax increases as a part of a deal, yes. Even though he says it won't do any good. 7% of the deficit, it's not going to help. I mean, 7% is a nothing burger, and he's willing to roll over even though it's not going to be a solution to the problem. And he says the president's negotiating with the wrong people. Well, he doesn't need to negotiate with you, Senator Coburn, because you've already surrendered. You've already given up the fight. So, again, I do not get any one part of this. Now, you know that Speaker Boehner has already sent signals that he's going to roll on tax increases. He's okay with it. He's proposing $800 billion in tax increases. And a group called the American Majority Action. And this would be an interesting experiment. In fact, I would encourage those who get motivated to do this, I would encourage you to do it. The American Majority Action, they are calling for Speaker Boehner to be replaced as the Speaker of the House. And it's very easy to do. It's very easy to do because if 16 Republicans, 16, count them, 16 Republicans abstain from the vote for Speaker of the House in January, John Boehner cannot get reelected as Speaker of the House. You got to have 218 votes. There are 233 Republicans. 16 of them abstain. He only gets 217 votes. He doesn't win. And they're going to have to come up with somebody else. They'll have to present a nomination for Speaker who can get those 16 Republicans to vote for him. All it takes is 16. And American Majority Action, they are endorsing today for Speaker, for GOP House leadership, Jeb Hensarling, Jim Jordan, and Tom Price. These are all good guys. Jeb Hensarling said, look, I had nothing to do with that Night of the Long Knives, that purge of conservatives. I had nothing to do with that. So he's a staunch conservative. Jim Jordan is a lion on Capitol Hill from Ohio. He's conservative. And Tom Price is being pushed to challenge Boehner for the role of Speaker. Now, he said this morning he's not going to do it. He's not going to take Speaker Boehner on. But if Boehner can't get 218 votes, maybe they'll draft Tom Price.